Hey there, Eric Gall here. I had a question come in from Charlotte, and Charlotte asked me, Eric, how do I engage my son in life planning? And I think this is a question that many of us have. So in this video, I'm gonna give you some ideas on maybe some ways you can try to engage your loved one in thinking about life planning and helping your loved one to think about what they want in their life, which can be a little bit hard, right? And when we're thinking about these ideas of, life planning and what do we want to, think when we're young, we're thinking about, well, what do we want to do with our life, right? It's that sort of question. So it's kind of abstract. It's kind of abstract. And for people with a developmental disability, can be a challenging thing to work through because it's a challenging thing to work through for all of us, really. So how can we make it less abstract? And I think is kind of the thing for us to think through. And when I first started doing life planning and helped my sister to think about her life and moving forward with her life, I would ask her questions like, well, what type of, where would you like to live? Or what type of home would you like to have? Or who would you want to live with, right? And we're thinking a lot about home. And I would always get the answer from Sarah, I don't know. And I was like, pulling my hair out, right? And even if I back up before that, I was talking about life planning, Sarah would just be like, not interested. Or like, I don't care. Like, or I don't know what, like, this has no relevance to me. Like, it doesn't make sense. So there was just no interest from Sarah. And thinking, so thinking about those two things, right? Like the interest in not kind of thinking about moving forward with her life and doing life planning. And when we finally got to it, thinking about like why she was answering, I don't know. Why is that? Well, a lot of it was to do with a lack of life experience. So my sister just hadn't experienced anything other than living at home and spending a lot of time at home in my parents' home. So she didn't have the perspective. She didn't have an understanding of what those other options were. Even if I expressed and described the option, she might not have had an understanding because she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, or she never talked about it before with anybody else. So she didn't have the life experience, she didn't have the perspective. So how can we support our loved one to gain the life experience, to gain the perspective, right? I think those are some questions that we need to be asking ourselves. So how can we do that? Well, one of those ways is through conversation. So it might be conversation with us, or it might be conversation with other people that our loved one looks up to. So maybe it's a sibling, or maybe it's a cousin, or maybe it's a friend. And for that other person to share, well, this is how I thought about what I want to do. This is how I thought about where I'm living or what I want to live. This is what it's like. So having those conversations can be really, really helpful, right? Either inside of our family and maybe growing outside of our family as well, to get that perspective from others, which can be super, super helpful. Also seeing things with our own eyes, right? So if we're having conversation with our loved one, like pointing things out, or having experiences where our loved one is getting more life experiences. And it might not connect, or it might not work the first time. We might have to experiment a little bit. We might have to try many different things. And we just need to be consistent over time. And that's what I've found, right? So sometimes it can be challenging because, you might realize, okay, my loved one needs a life plan. My family, we need to plan, we need to be intentional about our loved one's life that has a developmental disability, but maybe your loved one's not interested right now, or doesn't understand the benefits that it's going to provide them and the opportunity, right? So it can be a little bit challenging because one family member is ready to move forward, your loved one might not be. But I don't want that to discourage you from starting. Don't let that stop you from starting, because what I see with the families that I work with when creating life plans and doing life planning is over time, by being consistent and having more conversations, their loved one starts to become engaged, and you find the way to engage your loved one. And it just sometimes takes time, takes consistency, it takes experimentation. So the key here is to just get started, and continue as well, because life plans evolve. So if you're just getting started around life planning, I've got a free workshop for you, a free life plan workshop. So if you scroll down, there's a link below for you to click. You can enter your email address and sign up for this free workshop. It's going to be a ton of value. It's going to help you get started and help you with those conversations with your loved one. Your loved one's welcome to join us too. If they're at that stage and they're curious and they want to join in, they're welcome to do that. But I encourage you to scroll down, join the free workshop, sign up for the free workshop by clicking the link, entering your email address, and I'll email you all the information. And it's going to be awesome. So join us. Love to have you. I'm Eric Gall. Together, let's take a small step forward.